My name is Cjarles Benes, and welcome to my world.
This is Ron with ArtMoose TV, and we're here with the famous photographer, Cjarles Benes. Now don't laugh, you are quite the famous photographer here in Southern California. How long have you been dabbling in the photographic world?
I sold my first picture to the Chicago Tribune, the Grote Review section, when I was 11 years old. It was a picture of our dog who was panting and tired, and the editor called it Tired. I got $5 for that. I had a career. My dad had a photographic studio in Chicago, so that was going to be my career. The service came along, and that changed things. So I joined the service, Air Force, spent time in technical photography, spent a year in Korea, came back out, and felt there wasn't a future in photography, so I joined the corporate world. Spent 30 years with the 3M company, and then towards the end of my time there, I like to travel, I like to photograph, and my wife took it up in self-defense, and so we traveled and we photographed.
One of the big things that you like to do was windows and doors when you first started.
Yes. It's not uncommon, but it is interesting, particularly the Mexican door. The culture there, you know, there's no restrictions on what colors they use.
There is no wrong color.
That is correct, or how they arrange things. So it's been kind of fun. As a matter of fact, I had an experience in Tucson not too long ago. When I travel, if I'm in New England or if I'm in Washington State, and if we got 2 images in a day that were worth publishing, we had a good day. In Tucson, in about 3 hours, I got 15 images within 1 square mile. It was like finding gold, you know. And of course, that's what photography is, in my opinion, looking for gold, looking for that marvelous opportunity. There's something fascinating about shooting water because it changes, needless to say. That's called Exploding Water, and that's outside of Massachusetts. One of the early shots that we've taken, and I've never been able to duplicate it because of the explosion effect of the water. It looked like somebody threw a bomb in there.
And you like to do winterscapes too sometimes?
Well, we have a shot of Yosemite Valley. If you're there in the summertime, you're fighting 16 trucklets, 16 bus loads of people wanting their picture taken. My wife and I followed a storm in, and we were blessed as we came through the opening of the tunnel. There was this magnificent view, and guess what? There were only 2 other people.
The Americana is another one that you really must be close to home with.
Enjoy Americana. Here's an example of some Americana. You generally think of houses and traditional things like that. These are actual cowboys. My wife and I were traveling in Utah. The road was blocked by cattle, couldn't drive. And the reason was they were rounding up the cattle, driving them to the road and loading them on a truck. And this particular individual, I got a chance to talk to him. He was 21 years old, and that's what he did for a living.
This morning fog piece, there's a story about I call them shrinks, but you can be more professional.
Well, he was a psychologist, and he came through the booth and bought an image. He called me up a few weeks later, and he said, "I'd like to publish it. Can I have your permission?" And I said, "Certainly. Can you explain why?" And he said, "Yes." He said, "That image depicts what I do in life. I deal with people who are in a fog, and I try to add clarity. And if you look at that image, you can see the fog is starting to clear, and the sun is starting to show some clarity, if you will, and that's what I do for a living."
And you do a lot of also mountainscapes and landscapes.
Yes.
And you tie a lot of that into your Americana.
I do. You never know where you're going to find an image. That particular image happened to be in San Juan Capistrano. Now this is the latest series that I'm doing. This was shot up at the Automobile Museum in Black Hawk, California, which is near San Francisco. It's an extension of the Smithsonian Institute. And they have about 90 classical automobiles. This happens to be a 1931 Model A Deluxe Roadster, a very popular vehicle, if you will, in the early 30s. And that's a 1906 Cadillac, believe it or not. And that's Mount Shuksan. That's a picture that my wife took. And at the time she was on oxygen. We're at 4,000 feet. We waited 3 hours. The shot was there, but the wind was up and the clouds were up. So we had to wait 3 hours. She got the shot, I didn't. I was shooting large format. And I have a picture of that at the house because she's in that picture. You can't see her, but she's there.
You say she's in the picture, but I don't see her.
No, but she's there, if you will, obviously, because she took the picture. But the significance of that particular image is that when she passed away, that's where I put her. And then I told my kids, when my time comes, that's where you put me too. It's a beautiful spot.
I was going to say it's a gorgeous location.
Northern Cascades, right near the Canadian border.
We really love having you in here today. And could you do us a big favor and sign our artist palette while you're here?
Love to, yes.
Well, thank you for coming in.